Good day. I'm Wayne Duvenage, the CEO of OUTA. This is our weekly wrap, 22nd of August, 2025. A week to go to spring. Summer's rolling in, but let me get straight to the point. The two things that I just want to focus on this weekly wrap. The second part of it will be on the big issue, which is the debacle that's unfolding in SA tourism. But before I get there, let me just reflect a bit on the SETAs and then the developments this week that have happened with Buti Manamela, the minister, putting three of the SETAs, that's the services SETA, construction SETA, and the local government SETA, into administration. Now, that's good in one sense, because they were absolutely rotten, and the CEOs and the conduct that was happening in these SETAs needed to be addressed quite quickly, and putting them into administration is one way of doing it. But it's not the panacea. It doesn't necessarily fix matters. I mean, Seta, the construction Seta, have been put into administration twice in the past, and it hasn't fixed the problems. And so we urge the minister not to allow these administrative situations to linger on for too long. He has put them into administration for a year, he indicates. We say that's far too long. What he should be doing is getting these boards in place, new boards, strong boards, by the way. And I'll reflect on why it's important to have strong boards, just as we have seen in the matter with the SA tourism. It's so important that you have non-political people on boards, strong governance to oversee the maladministration and corruption by the executives of these SETAs. And so a lot of these SETA CEOs' times are coming up. They must be moved out. And one of the things we did say as well is that the minister should have also put the insurance SETA under administration. A lot of work to be done there. And by the way, the Bureau of Economic Research has put out a good paper compiled by Roy Haverman and Robert Botha, who've indicated really in a compelling oversight on what has been happening in the SETAs. Are we getting a return for our investment here as a country? And what needs to be done to fix the SETAs, and can they be fixed? And I'm very pleased to hear that both Treasury and the Department of Higher Education have reached out to these the scribes of this report, and they have found interest in it. So that's good, because it is a good report and might be the sign of things to come, that we are also calling for a complete revamp of the whole SETA model. And we had a discussion this week with business leadership and BUSA on this matter, by the way, very encouraging discussion. And I think they concur and agree that something has to change in the SETAs, but not, let's not put a plaster over this gaping wound. We probably need to wipe the slate clean and rejig the entire model of SETAs, because we are wasting a lot of money there. And it's certainly not fulfilling the mandate that it was intended to fill. But here's the main issue that I want to discuss that has unfolded this week, and that is this debacle that's been going on at SA Tourism under the minister of Patricia de Lille. Now, quite frankly, when we unpack what has been happening there over this last week, I believe that this calls for nothing short of a request to the president to remove this minister. And I'll tell you why. We believe she's involved in gross overreach and political interference in matters that she shouldn't be getting involved in, and that she should be trusting in her board. And I said earlier on in this recording that it's so important to have boards that are not politically tainted, that are not connected to politicians and other agendas. And this SA Tourism Board, the one that's just been fired by her, by the way, is an excellent board. It is a board that is diverse. It is representative of the travel industry. It has business players on it, academics. It has administrators. These people have good governance. And they were doing their job of oversight over errant executives in the SA tourism entity. Now, more than half of the money of the Department of Tourism goes to SA Tourism, this department. And it plays a very important role in marketing South Africa and being part of getting initiatives that bring visitors to this country. That creates jobs. It brings in foreign currency. And for the small budget that it has, I think it's under 8 billion rand a year, it is an extremely important department. So you've got to spend that money wisely. And when the executives of SA Tourism are not spending it wisely, when they are found wanting in their fiduciary duties, it is the role of the board to take them to task and to hold them to account. And that's what this board was doing. And sadly, its chairperson really didn't get involved in this to the extent that he should have. So the board raised a vote of no confidence against him. And he resigned at the end of July. What does the minister do? Instead of replacing him as the board chair, instead of appointing an acting chair very quickly, and she could have done that very, very quickly. She knew before he resigned, before his date of resignation, that he was resigning, that he was moving on. She chose not to. And that's remiss of her. That is a dereliction of duty by this minister. And we believe she didn't do so because she wanted to hamper this board. She didn't want them to continue to do the good work of removing or at least placing on suspension while a disciplinary hearing took place against its CEO, and rightfully so. So why is she ignoring the substance of the issue here? And that is the disciplinary action that must happen and take place against the CEO. What is her agenda? Why does she appear to be protecting this CEO? Why is she gunning for the board on a very flimsy matter, which is not going to stand up if this board takes her to court? On a very flimsy issue, she goes and removes the board. Well, we certainly believe that the board has a strong case to have interdict her decision and overturn it. And we've seen this play out before. There's good precedent. Popo Molefe did so as the chairperson of the PRASA board, when back then Deputy Peters, the Minister of Transport at the time, dissolved that board because it too was doing good work in holding the executives to account at PRASA. We believe this board has a very, very strong case and should tackle this minister and should have a court urgently interdict her decision and reverse her decision and reinstate this board. Now, of course, that's going to create a sour relationship between the minister and the board, but that's of her doing, not theirs, quite frankly. And if that does happen, if she can't mend that relationship, if it does go down this road, then the president, should remove the minister. She is out of line. We accuse her of gross overreach, of political meddling and interference. And quite frankly, she has become an absolute disappointment. And I think that her behavior is disgusting, quite frankly, nothing short of that. So we call on the president to put his foot down. You know, he has removed ministers and deputy ministers for far less transgressions of this nature. So, Patricia de Lille, you need to step down, quite frankly. And if you don't, this debacle that is unfolding sits squarely in your lap, and you are found wanting as a minister. I think let me leave it at that for now. And just to say, have a great weekend. Looking forward to our engagement next week.